Hello, Professor Martinson. This is Gary Janney, student at GCU in your Communications 100 class. And this is my benchmark video presentation, Preparation for a Memorial Service, the process of performance. Now this started because of this lady right here, Tamma Tappin, and she had passed away in late February, a friend of mine, and I was asked to sing at her memorial service. And so I prepared, and I used my imagination at first because that is the beginning of when you're going to do something that's performance-wise, and I'm going to turn it around. Good evening. When you're going to do something that is performance in its orientation, whether it's speaking or singing, you want to be prepared. But first you have to use your imagination and project yourself into the situation that you're going to be in and try to be comfortable in that. That helps in a way to mitigate some stress involved in coming up with something that was so fast in preparation time. I had to learn it in a few days. It was a last-minute decision to do that. And so I had to learn the material in a few days. I had to memorize a song I had heard, but I did not know. I did not know the lyrics or the music at all that well. And so there were two versions of Blue Skies, Ella Fitzgerald and Willie Nelson. So they wanted me to kind of do a hybrid of that. They didn't really know what they wanted, basically. But so I tried to make that what I thought they would want. So I took input from them, and I created what I thought would be the best situation for everyone, and to be honorable to that moment. So the process of learning and memorization is very vital to performance. I cannot say that enough, how important it is to be prepared. Because if you're prepared, you know more, you come off knowing more, and you come off more in control of the situation, more of an authority, naturally so. And you don't have to push it. You just are that, and that's a beautiful thing. So my next slide is to understand your audience. You want to understand your audience. I hope it's coming through. Understanding your audience. A song isn't just a song. It's all in the approach, which I talked about a bit. And you want to be sensitive to your audience and being in the moment. And that is so true. When you're learning the piece, I'm always learning, like whether that would be a speech or singing, I'm always thinking about the audience and how that's going to appeal or not appeal and how I should approach certain things. And I learned the song with those, I would say, those road marks or little places on my map of the song, mentally, that I put these emphases when I'm learning the piece. I put little emphasis in things, and I listen to it over and over, and I use my imagination to project how I would do that in the real moment when it comes. And believe it or not, it happens much more than you might want to think. It's very much like you imagine it if you do it, consistently. So that would be true. You want to be sensitive to the audience in the moment and make the song or the speech or whatever you're doing as informative, and yet you want to have their confidence in you. And so the better you know it, the more well prepared you are, the more well received I think it will be. So let me go to the next slide, which is communicating with the invisible. You're letting your audience be your guide, your emotions, and your performance. And of course, singing is communication, just like speaking, just like a speech in any Friars Club benefit or whatever you're doing. Singing is a form of communications just as strong or stronger, and sometimes it needs far less interpretation, which I will touch on here in a minute. But singing is communication. It's relating a lot more than the lyrics. It's relating really the emotions of the lyrics, and it's coming out in a way that helps you to creatively use those words in ways you couldn't do it if you were just talking. You could stretch out a word for emphasis, things like that in singing that you can't do necessarily in just public speaking. I mean, you couldn't just go, or something. You can't, no. They would throw you out, and maybe with good reason. But anyway, so that would be one aspect is singing. You can communicate with much more emotions a lot of times than just speaking. And it is like a performance when you're doing that, both both things. So I want to say that music needs no interpreter, and that mental and physical preparation are the keys to optimal performance. So if you know your material and then you prepare physically, which would be singing and just being physically getting rest, meditate if you do, prayer, those things help your mind to be more balanced and centered, so the performance will be more balanced and centered. And so I'd say many of the elements of preparation, they make all of the difference in a performance, whether you're doing a memorial service for Dear Tama or you're doing a speech for the Friars Club. You really approach it in the very same way. You want to know your audience, you want to know your material, and you want to present it in a way that makes it memorable and keeps you in authority, in place, so they know someone informed them at the highest levels. Thank you so very much, and have a great evening, Professor.